Welcome back to the Exchange Place podcast. Hey, y'all. Hey. I'm your host, Deborah Faith, and we got my friends in the building.
We back.
Yeah, we got Shey in the building.
Shay.
Tap into your dopeness.
Yes.
Love it.
We got Amber, Juicegirl, Dickson.
Queen.
What's
Hello.
up? What's up?
How y'all doing?
Good. Oh my God, I've never done a show with Shey.
Right.
Oh.
Not all
Never.
three of us. We've done.
Not all three of
Oh.
us. Never.
Right. Yes.
Oh, this is.
And do you
this-
know how like close we are like in real life? Like,
I know. I didn't realize that.
yeah.
Never.
Okay, well, today is the first of many. So we are wrapping up the friendship series.
Wow, I gotta credit you because that friendship series was deep.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all had me crying.
It was that was Shey.
It just kept unlocking
I know,
like
I know, I'm a
layers
big
and
crybaby,
more
you know, I'm a
layers.
little sensitive.
Yeah, it just kept like each episode was so great. I thank you for addressing the things that I really want to answer in your series. Yeah.
You have any? So I thought. Let me just tell you what I was thinking. I was thinking this last one because actually Shey's was initially supposed to be the last one, but as we
Okay.
started talking in there, I was just like, let's just do one more.
Okay.
And I thought it'd be cool to kind of bring up anything that from the series that we feel like we didn't address, that people had questions about. I had a few questions that I got in, DM form that I do want to talk about.
Oh,
but
great.
I would love to talk about, there was something on, I want to say it was the second episode.
Okay.
And it was, since we did New Friends,
Okay.
New Friends just dropped. Look, first of all, I'm wearing my friends. Y'all see it?
Holla.
I love it.
see that?
I love
Holla.
it.
You could have got us one. We could have been a group.
I'm
a girl
saying
group.
though, right?
I got this from Tarjay probably like 3 years ago.
Oh,
and
that's
found
dope.
it. It was
Okay.
like, oh, this is so cute. But I wanted to address, and I don't think Shey and I touched it in the New Friends spectrum, but you had asked the question why there was a difference between how some people may treat old friends versus new. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You might add a little bit to it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I see your face. What you
Yeah.
got? What you got?
I think I mean, I don't have the answers, but I think it's just like with anything, right? Anything that begins new. Guys, I'm dating right now, and it's kind of like really
go
exciting
ahead.
for me.
So
No,
you were
but-
boo loving. So you were boo loving. Okay.
Well, it's
you know,
Breakfast
just-
Club,
just a
but that's
little,
a no
just
whole
a little,
nother.
No, but I think new things are exciting. Think about it. Like when you start your new job, like your enthusiasm, right? They tell you all the rules in the beginning. You're like eager to start your job. You following the dress code. And you ever like watch how your discipline for your job like just shaves off? Like you went from making sure you're extremely like tidy to the T to I ain't wearing no blouse today. I'm not doing that today. I'm not doing that today. Because there's like a settling. The older something is, the more settled we become in it. I think the level of excitement that we have from meeting new people, it's intense sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I think that just is human nature that, again, we start things from the beginning. I stated the dating thing because I love this part of it, right? Like when you're first locked in and you're, oh my God, no, you ain't got. You know what I'm saying?
I have not been there.
You know what I'm saying? But after a while, because you're getting so used to the person, I'm not saying that it dies down and you don't still have that level of excitement. Yeah, but just think about that. Like a dating phase, job phases, in time, those things like kind of shave off. Now, in friendships, although it possesses these same dynamics, I think that we tend to, in relationships, just get comfortable with people. Like our eagerness, and I think it comes from this, right? Think about, and I'm sorry to keep relating it back to dating, but you know how vulnerable you are in the beginning? You're more open to share, you're more willing to share, you're more like, oh my God, like telling everything because there's really not anything to be ashamed of just yet, right? So how I see it is like, now that the more deeper you go in, right? Now you're protecting feelings. Maybe I shouldn't say that because they may take it away or certain things like that. So that's why, like, even when we address friendship maintenance, it's important to make sure that you're going back even into those friendships to make sure, like, hey, like, where's that level of excitement that you have for me? Or And why? Like, because that's, you ever see like people get jealous of new friends entering the building because they like, dang, you wasn't even doing all of that for me.
Yep.
I think I actually have two different feelings on that.
Because you're a different type of person. Deb is, hold on, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all about the word faith, okay? She allows you to build on the love. Like, she is who she is. She's gonna pour into you. And Shey addressed that on your last episode I watched. That was a dope episode. You're just gonna be who you are, but you kind of make people earn it. Like, they climb the ladder with you. I'm a little different, right? Whereas I probably, well, not as much as I used to. I'll go full throttle in the beginning. You get what I'm saying? And kind of let you chip away who I am to you. Meaning that I'm coming in full force, and listen, I could just be me, but if you chip it away, it's on you.
So you work the other way. So yes. I think that's something key to talk about. And I touched on this on the last episode, and I think I was doing this unknowingly. So, and I told you about this book. Anybody who is, I think, dating, single, and or married should read this book. I think it's an overall relational intelligence book, and I think it extends, even though it's kind of based on marriage, I think it extends that in my opinion, right? But the book talks about like a love bank, and it talked about how people start to gain trust, start to fall in love with or love people, and it's like banking. It's small deposits that make people trust you. I would never, and I'll use this analogy, I would never give anybody my entire, I wouldn't hand over my bank card and say, or my checkbook and say, here, go have at it. So I think of it like that. Like, if I meet somebody who, appears to be someone that I would love to connect to, I feel like I have a connection to, I note that, but for me, it's like, I can't give you full access to me like that. And that doesn't mean I feel like I don't treat people different or whatever. I think what you said is, again, everybody's gonna, have different pathways that they get there. That though is probably more scary for me, because if I give you full access and then say, oh, as you do things, then I take little away, but you have access to damage me in a way that, do you know what I'm saying? You have a full access to go on my account and do whatever. Yeah. And just wild out.
So I wouldn't say it's full access. I'd love to use Shey as a great example, how our friendship started. Shey, you want to tell the story, Shey?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know the story.
So we were at the gym.
Yes.
And Amber and Shanette were in the gym, and they were dancing.
We were twerking.
And I was like, they were twerking, and I love to twerk behind the scenes. So I was like, if I wasn't, I don't know, I said something, but I'm about to hop in there with y'all.
Right, exactly.
And that's just how it started.
It really did start like that.
Exactly how it started. But to your point of what you were saying in the beginning about people getting used to one another, it's the common phrase, familiarity breeds contempt. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's what ends up happening, is like we get so comfortable with people, we forget to be grateful for them. Yeah, right? You forget to have the gratitude of, this person pours into me so much, right? This person is there when I need them. I've had emergencies, and this person I never forget what somebody has done for me. I don't care if it was 5 years ago or 5 minutes ago. Right. Because we should be grateful for those things. Yes. God places people strategically in our lives so that we can have those things. Right. So I think it's a lot of familiarity breeds content. And even with our children, right? Sometimes I remember going on a vacation with my daughter, and she was acting funny with me. We was with my friends. And I'm like, I paid for this trip, little girl, nobody else. Right. But it's a lot of familiarity, and it breeds a lot of content. Like, people are very like, oh, it's Shey. Or it's Amber. Yeah. It's just that.
But I feel like when I met Shey, like, one thing I appreciated about Shey, and I think because we share this, and that's what I'm talking about, like, it's not considered full access, but like, Shey didn't know me well. I didn't know her well. We actually started to get to know like each other's world. We're both in the health and fitness world. We both began to understand each other's world, and Shey was very generous. I remember that with her clientele. Like, she was extremely generous to me, kind of like in a way that I do all the time, but I hadn't been, I mean, I did have that experience, but I hadn't received it to that level. And I appreciated that, you know, it wasn't like a earn it kind of thing with her. It was kind of like we saw each other. And it was no different with her. She knows, like, I opened up the floodgates to her because I just saw, like, how open she was and how willing she was, and she appreciated my gifts. I appreciated everything that she was doing. So it was never, I don't think ever between us, Shey, it had ever been like a earn it thing with us. Like it had just always been like a,
I can see it though.
But I do know, I will say this on a more, so that we've shared the funny moment in the gym, then we started seeing how we function business-wise. Mm-hmm. And then I took an interest to also train with her too. So we started to get to know each other on a personal level. So I do think that there were building blocks to our friendship. But I feel like it met at willingness.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's a earn it though. I think it's just deposits. It's like interactions.
Vetting too.
That absolutely vetting. But just like, so me and Shey kind of talked about that. Like I met Shey and it was like, I honestly never thought I was going to see Shey again. It was like one of those great encounters that I normally have. Like, of course, always talking to, not strangers, but you know.
Strangers.
I'm always, cut it out. I meet people at the weirdest place. I have, you know, deep conversations. That's just like my life. So it was one of those, and I didn't think I was gonna see her again. Like it was just like, oh, I really liked her.
Yeah.
I was like,
and you were actually talking to me about the starting of the podcast at the time.
Yeah, I don't think I had started the podcast.
No, you hadn't.
And
look at me on my third episode.
Look at that elevation in the room.
I'm like, I don't think I had. So I had what most don't know is the podcast legally with the LLC and all that had started in 2018. So I had it, but I had put it down. So during that time where I was helping Amber with the pop-ups and kind of like doing the pop-ups in a different way and kind of doing the transition of her podcast from pop-up to podcast, and also like doing kind of the behind the scenes where I was way more comfortable. Y'all, look, God is working.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
but
is.
I was kind of in that space and I was like, I'm doing everything for everybody, and like, what am I doing for myself? So I hadn't started the podcast, but I was about to start the podcast.
I remember
crazy.
talking about it with you.
Yeah,
and I remember because you was like, it was a great exchange. And I was like, that's dope. Like you're
I was like, exactly. I was like, you get it. And I never thought I was going to see you again. But I feel like you coming to the hiking group gave us an opportunity that I definitely, you know what I mean? I know, you know, sometimes I just have like, I don't want to say like those connections that you just know. It's like, okay, all right, yeah.
So you have to tell them, like, so the hiking group was a group I started in the pandemic.
Yeah,
and the idea was to bring random women together, and we all just shared the simple interest of wanting to learn how to hike and go hiking. And that birthed so many amazing connections.
It did. The hiking group was a blessing for me. So I was a hiker, but I was a hiker outside of New Jersey, which was like, oh, when I go on vacation, I hike. So it was so awesome that you started that, because for me, I was like, we can actually hike in Jersey? Like, and I think that's a great example even for the audience of like, strangers coming together. We all knew you for the most part, and I knew a couple of people throughout, but nobody had real solid relationships. Brenda was somebody who came that you guys know from the show, from the hiking group. But it actually was I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like it was a
bridge.
I was about to say it was a bridge to something else, that separate relationships were built and bonded. And then there was collective groups that kind of broke off, like, no, you know, we had common interests, or we do kind of the same thing. So I do think,
and I was so intentional about that. I didn't invite too many people that were my closest friends, because I didn't want it to be like
clicky.
Like, y'all know who I roll with. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm with the same people. But I didn't, Deb, with the exception of you, you're probably like one of my only closest friends, and I had a closest friend who was no longer a part of the group. But like, you were probably like the only exception to that. Like, so I never wanted to be on the hike. The idea was to combine people together. I never wanted it to be like, well, Deb's here, so let me just walk with Deb the whole time, because that doesn't give us the chance to like fellowship and, you know other people.
You gotta
whatever.
know your friends. That's what you gotta do.
Oh yeah.
You gotta know your friends.
Yeah.
And I think that is a testament overall. Like, I can come in that space because I'm not that, you know what I mean? We can be in the same space, place, or whatever. You gonna do your thing, I'm do my thing. We gonna, you know what I mean? Especially when it's a group of people, and me having respect for, like, this is something you're creating. So of course I don't need to be like, Amber, come walk with me. Like, codependent.
And my friends already know you can't even play with me like that. I'm like, oh no.
I'm that friend too. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's your bestie. Okay, that's my bestie too.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
And I think I set those foundations. I kind of have like a talk with all my friends, kind of like, listen, I think I've had this talk with every single friend that I've had. Like, I am not like.
You had a talk with me?
I definitely told you.
What was it?
When I tell people straight up, like, I don't do the best friend thing.
Oh, child.
If everybody is right?
We had that talk. Yeah.
Like, I don't do the best friend thing where I'm possessing. We definitely did.
No, we talk about it. But I'm talking about
not like me saying it directly to you, but I kind of like it's a casual conversation I have just so. I'm kind of like letting people know the expectations with me. Because here's the thing. And not in a bad way. It's not like these are my rules, but it's kind of like so people understand. Because I know sometimes what happens, especially in friendships, right? When we're like, I know I could be close to someone in this time that I may not be with next time. So I try to make it like, yo, I don't have a bestie. I am just people that I allow in my life. I see something in them that gives them an unlocked level of access that other people cannot have. And I don't want it to be like, oh, well, Amber hangs with this person more and this person more. Also, too, like, I would say like a big thing for me is I tell my friends, don't talk about my friends to me. If you have a personal, I always said that. Remember we had the cabin trip? And I always say that. For my rule in friendships are pretty much, you don't have to take that person home. You don't have to be besties with my besties. Just respect. That's it. Because I enter spaces like that.
I have a question, I guess, about the bestie thing. Because do you not have a whole bunch of, is it a rule that you have one best friend? Because I don't.
So it depends on what people's needs are. I mean, I know people who have best friends. They are like, this is my best friend from the sandbox. Nobody else could be my best friend. I just don't believe in that because I have evolved into listen, I'm on my 18th life, okay? So, like, I have evolved into I don't know how many people. So I can't just say, like, this is my best friend. I remember actually losing 2 best friends in 1 year.
Do you think that comes from trauma, though?
No, it doesn't come from trauma. It comes from life. But I don't think it's a trauma thing because I still love my people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying because I don't know that I call anybody best friends, but I feel like I have a bunch of besties. Like, I don't.
No, I'm talking about like that locked in, like this is that's it. Like, I don't do that. All my friends are my best friends. They're my best people. They're the best people that I give access to me to an unlocked level. Like, there's things I'm going to do for you that I will not do for the average person and vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've had, I understand where you're coming from. I don't do best friends either. Like, I feel the same. Like, all my friends that I choose to have in my life are people that I really can trust with saying, hey, I need you to do this. And, you know, like, that's how I feel about the people that I allow to be in that space. Now, I love everybody.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I show genuine love to everybody. I want to see everybody win. I do want to see that. But there's certain people that you can't come inside my house. You can walk me to the door, but you ain't coming through it. You know.
They can't get to the door,
and that's
girl.
because
not here.
That's because you do have to be careful.
Yeah.
I wonder though. I guess I'm taking it back to childhood where best friends meant like possession.
Yes.
And that's why I asked, is it a trauma?
And I did go through stuff like that.
But that's
though.
why I asked. I think that's why I was asking, or what I was hinting at when I asked, do you think that's like a trauma response to like? Because I've experienced that. I remember being a little girl. This is so funny, and one of my at the time, my best friend, well, it was like 3 of us, but the other young lady later on down the line, I found out, she said she was jealous of me. So she was like lying to but it was a possession thing, right?
Yeah.
And I know that people have that possession.
I don't want people to possess me.
Of like, you're my best friend.
Oh, I've gone through
or whatever
that.
type things. And that's why I was asking. I wonder if that is, when I think best friends, I just think the best people that I literally have in my life. So I feel like I have besties and everybody has their different lane. I know who to call for certain things. I know at this point I'm just like, they about to cuss somebody out. I can't really call them right now. Or, you know, they're going to be like, let me get my Vaseline and take my earrings all type. Yeah, so I know who's for who, who's for what, excuse me. And I don't know, but I feel like all of those people are my best friends.
Like, I don't know if it's like, I wouldn't compare my experience to trauma. I would just say it was just lessons that I learned. And as a result, I just try to be as open and honest as I can, because what I noticed in myself is that I was choosing people who had like a level of possession. I don't know what that is. It's because like naturally, I'm not even like that. I don't possess my friends. I don't possess anybody. The door is here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
we can't possess people.
But I think what it is that when you have like, when you are motivational to people, you speak life into people, you're high energy, you're a socialite, all of those things. People love that about you. And they love the benefits that it comes with, but sometimes they forget that I have to still allocate this to other people as well. Yeah. And what I had tried to do, because I had saw like, I went through something like really rough. Like I had actually, I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago, my best friend, we had a best friend breakup, and it was due to a new friendship. The new friendship came in kind of intense, and I know that it really made my best friend very jealous. But unfortunately, she did not know how to communicate it without an attack towards me, because in my mind, I'm like, but I'm your best friend. Like, I would do anything for you. I may be giving this level of attention to someone in this moment, but I'm not neglecting you. Like, I'm not leaving you. I'm not, I'm not just playing you out or whatever. But I was in a different space. I was in an entrepreneur world. I had never done that before. So I'm making new connections with people. I'm kind of building in a certain area. My conversations are different. My needs are changing, but it didn't make her invaluable to me. And I felt I was doing a good job with, making sure she was still looped in. But I did want to keep those friendships kind of separate, like not kind of like merge everybody together like all the time, because like I'm still getting to know this person. So I'm not about to say like, hey, this is my bestie, by the way, you're going to know who it is. But, like I just didn't feel like that merge yet, because I was still figuring it out with the newer friend. And unfortunately, I lost that friendship due to that. And it was irreparable. I even tried to reconnect with that person. It just didn't work out. It's so, and we could go back to the initial question that you asked in the beginning, is like, maybe she thought I had an enthusiasm there that she wasn't getting. You know what I'm saying? But I think I just do well. If I'm being honest, I think I do very well at showing my friends I love them. Telling them that I love them, I tell my friends I love them all the time. I tell you I love you. I tell you I love you. I'm just joking. I tell Deb, if I see Shey, she knows before we leave. I tell everybody who I love them every single time. I embrace them. I make sure I say something positive, like something that is connective, so they know that I'm here and I see them, So I thought I was doing a great job at still doing that, because also too, you can't take full responsibility for that. That's what I'm learning, because it's also her job to understand me. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Or have a conversation with you.
Or have a conversation or whatever. But I on the flip side, I've experienced friends who I felt like kind of played me out or hurt my feelings for a new friend. I think I didn't take certain things personally, because I still do have a life outside of every friendship. So I'm like, I won't be hyper focused on that situation. But I definitely probably have experienced people where I felt like, dang, like you're going like above and beyond for probably someone who is a newer person to you. And here I am who's like always there, always present, always this. But I kind of feel like you don't have that level of enthusiasm. That happened to me in a personal friendship, but it was a conversation. And I think that it kind of was an awakening for them to kind of see, like, hey, yo, like this person, you are like a consistent person in my life. And it kind of like revived the friendship a bit. Because it was a challenge. I don't want to talk about it too personally, but like it was a challenge that was met. And I think it was an awakening to be like, nah, you're really my dog. Like, you're really my friend. And apologizing with like action. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think maybe I don't want to say I've always done a good job, but I think I would definitely say now, like, I pray that I'm honoring the friendships in my life. Like, I don't know. I felt blessed to have the people close to me.
Yeah, you sent me a voice note the other day.
I did. I don't know. Like,
I was like, leave me alone, girl.
No, because I have those, and I always wanted to say present like that in relationships, right?
Yeah.
Of like, I sent her like, thank you, and she was like, what did I do? Because I always have full circle moments, right, in life.
That's like, that gratitude.
And I literally try to live in gratitude. So it's always like, and what I said to Amber was just like, thank you, because sometimes you don't realize how much wisdom and knowledge you're around until you put in a different season of life, and now you're using stuff, and then you think about where you got those types of things and how you know how to maneuver in that. And I was just like, thank you, because I've been in it, you know what I'm saying? And like that alone is a blessing. And I think some people forget, not just in friendships, like you said about your children. I think it happens, but I think the best relationships, whether they're friendships, romantic, any shit that you on, are always going to be ones that reciprocity is present, and people are constantly like, just like, I don't know, I get up every day and tell God thank you, like, you know what I mean? Just like I have a lot of reflection time, a lot of journaling time to be like, dang, like I remember a time I didn't have the circle that I have. Do you know what I'm saying? So like that alone for me is just like, I am literally grateful.
Same. I feel like since I would say about 2020, God has been presenting a circle of wisdom. Yeah. Women of wisdom, and just valuing yourself, business, knowing how to be a friend, knowing how to be vulnerable with friends. And I'm so grateful for that, because I'm a loner. Like I could literally like not speak to anybody, and I'm okay. I'm not depressed. There's nothing going on. It's just that I'm just so at it all day that I'm cool with just like, you solitude. But I also understand that there's gifts that God instilled in me. There's gifts that God instilled in you, and people need those gifts. Yeah. People need that light. People need you to shine on them, and you need people to shine on you. So it's just been a blessing to have that coming into my life. Like, honestly, people hated the pandemic, but I feel like
I love the pandemic.
I hated the death surrounding the pandemic, obviously the sickness, but I just felt like it I don't like to claim certain things. Like, it gave me a level of social anxiety probably. So now everything to me has to be intimate. Like, everything has to be meaningful. Everything has to be intentional. Honestly, I birthed so much intention in the year 2020 because I was forced to sit down and read, forced to see myself, forced to get my stuff together, because nothing else could distract me from doing it. And it built me, and it positioned me and postured me in such a way like that I know that if it didn't happen, I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
We needed it.
I was about to say,
bring it back, but not the COVID. Keep the COVID.
I was going to say the COVID part and people losing their lives, my heart goes out too.
Definitely, for sure.
But I think it put me in such a slowdown. And it allowed me to like not just be in this constant go, do this, do that, and go lay down for a second, get back up and do the same thing. Like, it forced me in a space that I feel like I live in now, even though we're not in the pandemic, but just like this, like, sometimes I feel like I'm like walking, and I don't want to say walking on water, but like in this peaceful bubble.
Carefree, very.
I could hear the birds. I feel like before I wasn't hearing the same way. I wasn't seeing the same way. Like it was a refreshing time for me. It allowed me, it was almost like a shake up to really, really like get me focused.
Yeah.
I appreciate that was one of my prayers as we were transitioning back out of the pandemic, was to not get caught up in what I was caught up in before, like busting my butt, working all the time. I value spending time with my daughter.
Yes.
Like that was something that it was like, you stay with grandpa, I gotta go to work.
Yes.
And I'm very much so, I'm a single mom, so I'm very used to providing. So it was like, I gotta work, and I'm working. Classes, hair, everything I have to do to make money, save money, invest money, all that stuff. And I was just like, when the pandemic happened, I was just praying, like, let me live in this moment. Obviously, we have to work, we have to do things, but to not get greedy and try to get it all.
Yeah.
Because God, and when you understand that God is gonna provide regardless. And like you'll never be working enough. Like I definitely agree with that, especially as a mom. Oh my God, I feel like so blessed that I've dedicated these past 3 years like to reprogramming myself in mommy mode, spending more time with my children, because like when I started my business, my baby was 2. He was 2, almost 3 years old. And now he's almost 9. And I'm like, whoa, like I really let a lot of time kind of like pass. But they were with me in that journey.
Yeah, but it was busy
busy with me and not like focused on them. Like I'm super enjoying that life is more calm. I run my business. My business does not run me anymore. I'm able to have the flexibility to travel. My daughter's graduating from high school and going to college. Shout out to Michaela. But I'm able to be a part of that process without feeling like, well, maybe your granddad could take you. Maybe your dad could take you to this. Not that mom guilt. Like my daughter feels present. She knows she could come home and talk to me about her day. Like, and those things matter.
They do.
Yeah, and I think even at some point we could like, going back to any relationship, you could take even your children for granted. Like, you get what I'm saying? Just saying like, oh, they're gonna be here. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They're children, but the whole time, like, they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, even the simple things as far as like my daughter helping me with my business. Like now I have to strategically do this, like because she's away at college. She's away at college. So now it's not like, hey, wake up, help me. Like, you get what I'm saying? I have to actually respect her time, and we have to create some type of system that, that works or whatever. So we could, anything that, back to the point, it's easy to take anybody for granted. It's very important to make sure that we're intentional and making sure, hey, I really appreciate that. Like, I really, you want to make sure you're telling them that, saying, I appreciate that. This matters, all of that stuff.
So I think I would love to give the audience some tips and tricks. I know you kind of gave some of like not taking relationships, and I'm gonna use that I know we're in the friendship, or we're ending the friendship series, but how do we not take people for granted? And how, like, what would you say would be some good things for people to practice in relationships? And I'm going to start.
Okay.
And I'll say to the parents, and this is something I do with the boys often. And I'm planning, well, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I'm planning some other things because I'm relocating and DJ will be here, but I feel like I have check-ins with them. And it's kind of just like, because sometimes in passing, okay, Jaden's going to practice, DJ's going to work. It's like, hey, Mom, come kiss me. Hey, and everybody kind of goes back to their world. I'm working, or I'm on a computer or whatever. So I do tend to have times where I'm like, nope, put your phone out. Okay, we're going to get something to eat. Let's talk. Like, what's going on? How's everybody? How's your heart? You know what I mean? And I personally, I just think it's a great space. I had a conversation with them yesterday about just, and I feel like I'm often pouring out stuff and making them aware of stuff in my life that, hey, I didn't tell you this, but this is what kind of been going on, and just to make them aware. And also, I want them to learn through my experiences so they don't have to experience the same thing, right? So that's been super helpful for me, especially when it comes to my boys. Now I have older children, so checking in with the 2-year-old or a 4-year-old might not be the option, but a 21-year-old and a 16-year-old, we can sit down and chop it up and kind of talk about what's happening with their friends or what's going on in their lives, and vice versa. And I feel closer to them. It's not like I'm cool. They know I'm cool, but I'm still your mama. Look, I'm looking up. Look, I'm looking up to them. I'm still your mama. Right. But I think it just opened up a safe place because I feel like they tell me so much more. I feel like I don't have to push and prong about kind of what's going on. And are they going to tell me everything? No, because I'm not going to tell them everything about my life either.
Of course.
But I do feel that
opening up that trust with them.
Yeah, that there's a huge trust there. So what advice would you give? Wisdom?
I think being supportive is a big one in my opinion. Only because like I do like to honor wherever people are. Whether that is maybe you're working on something that can't make you as present in friendship, but I just want you to know that I support what it is that you're doing.
That's good.
Yeah, like I support it is what you're doing. Like again, in my own personal experience, I've had people that I was close to and I felt like, dang, we were really close, and now they're like really hyper focused on something else. And it didn't, like, obviously you have human emotions where it's like, yo, my friend, like, but from a genuine standpoint, and just even thinking of myself, I just want to be supportive to where you are. I want to make sure that one of my closest friends is relocating to Georgia. Like, you get what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna cry. But I'm still here for you. You know what I'm saying? All the way from Georgia, all the way from New Jersey. Like, I'm gonna be supporting you no matter what.
Right.
Don't cry.
Go, Shey. Talk.
So I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said with parenting, and I also have another one. But something I started doing with my daughter, her bedtime is 9:00. She's always complaining, oh, I gotta go to bed at 9. Can I just go to bed at 9:30? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take that half hour and I'm gonna give it to her. But I'm gonna give it to her
as a bonus.
Not even a bonus. It's a me and you time.
Oh, okay.
So from 9 to 9:30, my phone is off. Her phone goes off at 8:30. But so we either color. I teach her how to play cards. We talk, different things so that we can create. She's 11. She's gonna be 12 this year, and I know that teenagers they turn fun. They say the aliens come and snatch them up and bring them back when they're 20. Right. I don't want the aliens taking my baby. So I do my best. Some nights it's like I'm super tired, she's super tired, and we don't get to do it. But most of the nights that since we've started doing it, we get a chance to bond, and it's opened up a level of conversation with her where she'll tell me who her crush is. I've found out how wise she really is, because sometimes we don't give them enough credit, and we don't think that they're as wise as they really are, which also is like a kind of like a nudge, like you're doing a good job.
Yes, you're doing a good job.
Another thing is, don't say we need to get together and then don't plan it.
Yes, be intentional.
I feel like a lot of times when you love your friends and you say, hey, we got to get together. All right, look at your calendar and I'm going to look at mine. Get back to me within 2 days.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds crazy, but in the entrepreneurial world and in a busy world and in the motherhood world, you have to look at your calendar. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's just chilling on the sofa anymore. We don't have time for. I hope nobody's just chilling on the sofa no more. So like really set the date. You know what I mean? Don't. And I had a conversation with my cousin's wife where we were really close at one point where we were both working 9 to 5s. She's now an entrepreneur as a photographer, and I do my thing in fitness.
Right.
And, she hit me up, Happy Mother's Day, and I'm like, girl, we got to get together. It's been so long. We should do a brunch or something. She's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, let me know what days work for you. I'm going to be busy these days, but I'll have this day open. So then like a day later, she's like, this day works better. And I'm like, all right, cool. She's like, all right, I have laundry that day. Can we just do dinner? And I'm like, yes, but the date is set.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not
not just like a casual.
We got to do something.
Yeah. Because remember the last time we hung out on my birthday?
Yes.
Yo, we had the time of our life or whatever. And we did say that to each other, like, all right, we got to do this again. Yes. But this time, we're here. We're going to go have a little dinner.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Afterwards, we go to church together. We do brunch. And it may not be all the time, but I think we do our best to be intentional.
I think we're intentional about that. But I love y'all.
Love you.
Love you too.
I
Love Shey.
appreciate y'all. And though I am kind of leaving Jersey, I'll be
That
back
makes
and
me
forth.
sad.
I don't know why. I feel
But
like
I'm so happy for you. I have another
Yes.
friend who's
Yeah.
leaving too, and I'm sad, but I'm so happy for the
Supportive.
growth,
Supportive.
for the new experience and the
Yes.
new journey that you girls are gonna go on.
Because I'm coming.
Yeah.
Me too, girl.
and I'ma be-
up
look,
in that
I'm
backyard.
visiting. I know.
Put me in the shed.
I'm visiting. Put me in the she.
absolutely come visit number one. And I just think, I'll be back and forth too. Like, I think this is just expansion. Increase my territory, as the Bible says. I just think that God is really increasing that, and I don't think it will just be Georgia. I think it will be even extended to the West Coast. So I just feel like, be careful what you ask for, and I've asked for global. So I just feel like that's the first move to that. So
I agree.
So until next time, y'all. I think we're gonna talk about love next.
Ooh, I'm ready now.
I'm ready too.
Look, I'm
I
ready
can't
now.
wait to talk about love.
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think we're gonna talk about love. But until next time, we out of here.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all later.
Welcome to the Exchange Place, the home for healing.